Hello, welcome to another edition of the Studio City Aftershow. I am James Lott Jr., your host, and we're talking to one of the stars, one of the younger stars, apparently, on the show. Of the show. He's a great guy, and so he plays a duo role, of course, as Devyn Stryker and Nick Cassidy on this great series. And I'm glad to have him today with the beard, Philip Bruenn. How you doing, Philip?
I'm doing great, James. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for bringing me on. I was really looking forward to this.
Yeah, so what city are you in right now?
I'm over in Los Angeles. I'm in Hollywood.
You're still in LA. Okay, I wasn't sure where you were. And how are you doing?
Right next to Paramount.
Are you seriously next to Paramount over there?
Oh yeah, my bedroom window looks over the water tower. It's a great inspirational view.
That's interesting. Well, nothing going on there at the moment, but yes, it's gonna come back. You live in a nice part of town. I like that area of town.
Yeah,
it's nice over there. Okay, so as we're talking right now, the Emmy nominations came out, and Studio City got a lot of nominations. So congratulations to your show.
I'm really happy for everybody. Everybody worked, really hard, and even when the project was beginning, they were kind of talking in the aspect of, hey, when we make this is what we're making it for. This is what our aspirations are for, and I love the fact that they set the goal, they created the project, and it's made its way in.
And as you know, you get to begin this project. It's not always easy getting these projects off the ground, getting them to air, let alone anything. The nominations are just a nice validation. It's nice to get those. Sure. But to actually get something on air, not always easy.
I mean, it's pretty crazy. Exactly like you said, it's a difficult thing. It's difficult to get it on air. B, it is a thing of validation, but I think in the it's a show business, and in the business aspect, it does play different roles for, later on, whether for the show itself or for people creating or participating in it.
I agree. For marketing purposes, it's nice to have Emmy nominated, on there.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
But I just want people to know that, these things, these indie projects, they're great and wonderful and everything, but it's a long road sometimes to get there. A lot of hard work has been there. And you worked with some other indie projects too, haven't you? Some indie films or things?
Yeah. I've worked on some kind of like indie action films. I had a little kind of indie TV show that got kind of network broadcast a few years before that. And, the biggest thing that I think is really amazing about all of this is, who was it during one of our last interviews on I think it was Patrica. Mm-hmm. Somebody had brought up the fact that because of all these new mediums, there's just so many opportunities, and it really is the truth. There's so many ways to create projects and to build content, to build potential outlooks or ways to get things out there. And this day and age is different than the 90s or the 2000s or the 80s, even at least from what I've researched and read and interviews and documentaries I've watched. There's a lot more outreach now.
I'll tell you, I'm a little older than he is, folks. And I remember when there was just 3 networks. I mean, like literally, and they turned off at 2:00 in the morning. They played the anthem, and it'd be like, okay.
Did they go to the black and white screen?
Yes, exactly. I remember those. And then I remember the advent of like cable TV. I had one of the first cable boxes back in the day. And then as we've grown to now, first it was called web series, and then then streaming happened. I remember I was thinking, will this streaming thing work? Like, is it going to happen? People forget, like, Netflix was basically a DVD turn-in thing. That's all it was.
Oh, I remember when Blockbuster was trying to shut it down. Like, this is going to be nothing. Netflix is nothing. And then all of a sudden you see Blockbuster starting to mail DVDs like, oh, we need to get on this thing.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And that's just so funny. And then web series are now called digital dramas and digital comedies. They're starting to emerge in their own kind of right. And so you're right. We're seeing this whole thing change. And now you got an iPhone, you can there's movies done on iPhones. You have a little tiny camera, you got a camera, whatever. You get your friends together. I mean, it's nowadays, there's so much with YouTube and Hulu and Amazon. I mean, there's so many streaming services. It's actually amazing. And it was Patricia who said that. It's like, there's no reason for people not to be working in something because there's stuff out there, a lot of outlets.
That's exactly true.
So Studio City, how did it come into your orbit? For folks who may not know this, he plays his character Nick Cassidy and Devyn Stryker on the show Hearts on Fire. But how did it come into your orbit?
Whew. So is your question more how did how did I find out about it, or how was I approached about it?
Either way, how did Studio City enter your life? How did you get to know what Studio City was?
Okay, so it kind of was, you know how they have the saying that, you know, the little things make a difference. Little things will build up and be positive, or the little things will build up and be negative. So the little things built up in a positive way for me. I worked on a project with Tim, the director. He did a film called Gangsterland, which Sean was actually in. So I just ended up doing a kind of stunt double role for one of the leads, and some boxing and some other stuff on that. So I never actually was on set or got to meet Sean during that.
How weird.
However, later on, a few years later, Tim ended up doing a cowboy movie, an action film that's out on Netflix now called Outsider. And we had talked, and then I'd come by and ended up working on that project as a kind of a supporting type of character. But it was, how do I say this? I busted my butt trying to work on this project, and tried to demonstrate just a lot of dedication to anything that I'm brought on to, and give all the heart that I can. And so a few months after that project had wrapped, Tim had contacted me and said, "Hey, I'm working on this new thing, and I actually have you in mind for one of the roles. You know, what's your kind of schedule like? Would you be potentially interested? It's going to be with a couple amazing stars." And we kind of have an idea of this whole goal thing. And it happened to be during the week of my birthday.
Oh,
so I was like, "Hey man, I don't know, it's very vague and ambiguous right now. We can't talk about it. And I don't know, I've got a plan to be in Vegas. I'm going to be celebrating." I was good to go. So, we chat about this, and lo and behold, I get to Vegas. I'm celebrating my birthday. My best friend I grew up with came to visit me. My partner came out, a couple of friends. Yeah. And we're at this concert, and we snuck into this concert, and we're able to kind of peruse and sneak our way into this VIP backstage.
Hey, I love it.
I mean, you know what? Life's an adventure. What are they going to do? Throw you out? I mean, that's basically it.
You're still in Vegas.
Hey, make it happen. If you pretend you're supposed to be there, most of the time people are going to accept that that's where you're supposed to be. So I'm at this concert, and Tim calls me, and I noticed he called me, but it's like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, I've don't really get phone calls from him this late. And I pick it up, and I'm backstage, and he's like, Phil, all right. So do you remember that project I was telling you about? I'm like, yeah, like 3 days ago before I left town. Like, yeah. We're greenlit. We're good to go. I'm like, okay, when are you good to go? I'm out of town. I'll be back in like 2 days. And he's like, listen, this is the project. It's going to be a love letter to soaps, which I think Sean and Tim kind of created that idea behind their influence of it. And I guess they had been working on it for a little while.
Yeah, a while.
Yeah. They'd been working the script and working rewrites and working how they wanted the whole thing to be presented, whether in like full form or short form. And he was very vague with it the first time he talked to me about it. He kind of talked about the character a little bit, but didn't say anything about the world of what the whole persona show was
let's
about.
Stop there for a second. How do you describe the character to you? He don't tell you very little. Do you remember what he said to you?
He said you're gonna do very well at this role.
Okay. Okay.
He was like, it's kind of in your medium. You're gonna play like this kind of pretty boy type guy, this kind of badass or bad boy type character, and you're gonna be kind of threatening the main character, and kind of left it very much at that. And that intrigued me, if my memory serves me correctly for that.
Okay.
That intrigued me because it's not a villain type role by any means. However, anytime that somebody brings up something of being like bad boy, bad character, everybody's justified in their own mind. So I went, "Ooh, this will be fun. Let me figure out how can I, how would I justify this guy's actions on the show? And that didn't come. Now that whole thought process didn't come until technically I was already on set, and this is how the whole thing exploded and happened. He calls me. He's now going through the pitch, and I'm like, Tim, I'm in Las Vegas. What do I do? He's like, get on a plane. I pulled up the plane flights, and mind you, we're backstage, and people are going, what are you doing right now? I'm like, I gotta look for plane flights right now. I gotta go back to Los Angeles. I might have to go back to Los Angeles. James, there were no more plane flights out of Las Vegas, and it was like maybe 11 o'clock at night, 11:30.
They usually have one like at midnight, I thought, from Vegas. I thought they had one at least like at 11:30 midnight, I thought, or one, I guess.
On this particular day when I was looking, there were no more late night flights. Now there were early morning flights out. That was true. There was I think a 8 a.m. flight or something, but I would get there at like 9 o'clock, and I brought that up to Tim, and he's with the production team, and they're going, no, Phil, you don't understand. First shot is up at 8 a.m. I was like, oh.
Okay.
And what's my call time? They go, 7:30.
Oh, my God.
Right.
Okay.
All right. How do we make this happen? They go, however you care to get down here, get down here. Rent a car. Figure it out.
Wow.
So I'm sitting there going, do I do it? Do I not do it? How do I, I'm trying to call car rental places. Most of them are closed. Yeah. And so I actually ended up trying to contact production back at maybe 12:30, 1 a.m. or something, going, guys, I can't find a way down there. Yeah. I can't figure it out, and I don't know if I can do this. So I didn't think I was going to do it. Well, 4 a.m. rolls around, production's up. They all call me going, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. You've got to be here. You're supposed to be here right now. I'm like, I have what am I going to do? Hitchhike down there? I don't know.
Yeah.
The car rental place was open, or they received a car at the airport place, the airport car rental. Took a car there, drove through the night, no sleep. God, I don't know how. I don't know how we got there on time, but we got there at 7:45, 8 a.m. right for first shot. I get there and they go, your first shot, hair and makeup now. I haven't slept. I haven't seen the script. And I'm like, let's go. We will figure it out. And the best part about that, the best part about that whole setup is it's the opening shot for the whole series.
Oh yeah,
so I hadn't even met Sean. I hadn't met Aaron. I hadn't met anybody. They slapped my sides in my hand. I'm looking at my line. We're getting hair and makeup done and stuff, and I'm backstage.
You're shirtless for the first shot.
They didn't even tell me that was going on. I'm like, oh, good thing. I don't know. I guess I've been fasting for 8 hours. Cool, this will work.
Oh my God.
And so I'm backstage, and they don't even introduce me to anybody. They're like, okay, on this cue, you're coming out. We hit the cue, and I come out, and has anybody seen my sunglasses? And both Aaron and Sean are pretty naturally actually like, who is this guy? And that was literally the entrance to the show and the opening scene, and it all worked fantastically. And that's how I got brought into the project. So then it was, while on set, getting brought back up to speed of, okay, let's look at the whole script. Let's look at character stuff. Let's, I'm talking with Sean. Sean and I are meeting each other and discussing about the project aspects of things. And it was just a beautiful, high stakes opportunity.
That's a better story than I couldn't even imagine. Everybody, you got a good story. That's a great story. That's a great story. I love it. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah. That just shocked me. Well, I mean, good job. I mean, it was fine. But then, okay, so now you're on set and everything. Now you do the opening scene stuff. So because you play a character, Sean Kanan, let's face it, looks great for his age still. I mean, looks great. I mean, obviously he's acting. I mean, I was saying acting. He's a washed up, or he has great shape, everything. He looks amazing. But still, what was it like to play the younger adversary? I guess that's a better word for it. Not an enemy or just an adversary. What was it? How fun was it to play that against Sean?
It was actually really fun, and I think when Sean and I got to talking, because after we set up the first shot, we had a little break for angle change and stuff, and him and I are sitting in a booth and chatting about indie projects and chatting about this project and chatting about character stuff. And, you know, he kind of made a comment to me about, I think we had a particular line coming up that was me joking on my grandmother watching his show, right? And that's supposed, you know, that kind of brings into the whole ageism aspect with Sean's character. And I thought about it, and it ended up being that it was amazing working with him, because I think the way I enjoyed with Nick was that he's a huge fan of Sean's character, and that's what brought about it. And, you know, with that whole ageism aspect, and with Sean, you know, with his great portrayal of that, of kind of being against the back ropes or backed up into a corner, I thought Nick's sitting here going, you know what? He idolizes Sean's character. He loves him. But sometimes if you like somebody so much and you want to see them succeed, you threaten them.
Yes.
You push them. So that's how I looked at Nick and Sean, or my character and Sean's character interacting, is challenge him. He can do it. He's this amazing guy. So there's this aspect where he comes off kind of playfully douchey or that, you know, thing, but it's really for Nick, it's challenging him, wanting to see Sean's character rise up and become that star again. Now, you know, by all means, you know, Nick wants to have his own successes, but deep down, it's, you know, he wants to see his idol succeed.
You know, it's funny because you're right, because, you know, Sam Stevens, which is his character, is like, he's been around a while and he wants to be still in it. You know, Nick Cassidy is kind of new and bright-eyed and wants to and idolizes him and wants to be in it too. And so, but it's this weird kind of like, can they both be together on the soap, or can they not be together on the soap? And I know some of it's, I mean, and I'm sure Sean did get some of the stuff from real life. I'm sure Michelle, when she wrote it, they gleaned into real life backstage. He's been on many soaps, of course, he knows this stuff. So it's really interesting to watch this kind of thing where it's like, you both could be good. It's like, you know, my brain is a watcher going, you both could be on the show together. There hasn't been any competition because you're here and you're here. But then the network plays into it too, of course.
Exactly. The producer playing into it. They play the audience viewage, all of that. Yeah.
It's not crazy. Did you learn anything about ageism while playing this role? Did you walk away with anything when you were playing this role?
Oh, say that again.
I was saying, did you walk away with anything for yourself in terms of ageism? Did you like learn anything, or kind of have a takeaway like, you know, this is interesting that this possibly could be happening, or this is what it feels like when you're a little older? Like, do you feel anything?
You know, it's something that I had been aware of, being aware and not fully cognizant of. How do I describe this? It's like, you know, in other productions, other plays type stories or other TV shows, you know, I'd heard about ageism, you know, either the washed up character or the one who's on the decline or anything like that. And I had always heard about it, and I didn't really think anything of it. And then being on the project here, and then actually getting to see, you know, what, you know, somebody working out that in the storyline and talking about the influences of where it comes from in real life, and then my kind of role in that, because technically Nick is a role in that. It's, you know, for main aspect of, you're looking at pushing out the older person, and of course there are those people in there who do want to push out the older people, hey, starlight on me kind of thing. And this was my first real taste of understanding that. So, you know, that I think I walk away with knowing that eventually one day it either come to that, or you leave beforehand. I think, what was the Christopher Nolan quote? You either live long enough to see yourself become the bad guy, or you leave early.
Yeah, there's also that one for women. It's always like, you start out the ingenue and then you end up being the grandmother or something like that. It's always just the same. You stay long enough, you know. That's kind of. Or I've got somebody else told me too. Was it Corbin Burnson or somebody told me, like, well, you stay in the lane long enough, you'll win the last one standing, and just keep on going.
I've you know what's so funny? When I first moved to Los Angeles, I was at an acting conservatory, and one of my first coaches was this old Broadway star, retired. His name was Harvey Solon. And our first day of class, he has everybody stand up. He's like, everybody stand up, look at each other, look at your line. Maybe 20 of us, something. He goes, okay, half of you sit down. Cuts out half. Now the rest of us there. He goes, okay, a third of you sit down. Okay, now there's only a few of us left. He goes, okay, half of this remainder sit down. Next thing we know, we have basically 2 people left. He goes, this is how it works in the industry. In your first year, half of you will quit. In the first 5 years, another third. By 10 years, it's half of that. If you can be the last man standing, your only competition is one other guy you've been seeing out here for 15 years. I'm like, that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe that. I've been in the business 13 years, so I'm like, I did, my first thing I ever did was an episode of House.
Very fun.
You know, and season 4, and it was on the other day. Actually, I kept to catch it. It was like on in the morning. I was like, oh, there's me. But that was back in 2007. I was like, that was 13 years ago. I did that. So it's kind of like, yeah, you just keep going, keep going. You'll be in here for a while.
Keep going. Longevity, persistence. You know, all of that plays such a big role. And I think the persistence plays with the confidence, and that plays with your ability to keep getting things and making things happen. Like, you become very ingenuitive. Look at yourself, James. Look at you. Like, the ability to stay here and continue fighting for different creative outlets really then expands what you can do, expands your value, and a lot of different things.
Thank you. Thank you. I like this industry. I like that I do many different things, and it's fun. And I just had to adapt and change. That's also a big thing too. As actors, as creatives, we kind of have to learn how to adapt and change. There are ebbs and flows. There are high moments and low moments. I know a lot of
adapt or die.
Adapt or die. I know a lot just go, well, this is my life normally between roles. I'm waiting waiting for stuff. It's like you just can't go outside all the time. But other than that, it's like we know this. We kind of creatives know this. We know that there's times where it's dead in the water, and there's times it's high life. And it's kind of that's how it is. So I try to learn how to adapt with that. Just go, okay, let's keep going. Like right now, maybe a little slow, but it'll go back up at some point if I just keep going.
Yep.
I want to ask you a question. I didn't ask you this last time when I talked to you on my other show. Have you ever watched a soap opera?
I had caught partial episodes in the past.
Oh, any shows you remember? Do you remember the show it was? Or any show you remember? Or just in general?
So technically it would be 2. One was a telenovela.
Oh, hey, I love that. Again.
So I had no idea what was going on, but I enjoyed watching it. There are also times where I've lived abroad on a handful of occasions. I wanted to go move abroad and displace myself at one point, and so I moved to Thailand by myself, and I actually ended up watching Korean soap operas. They're big in Thailand.
They're big
over there. It was huge. Yeah. It was huge. And I never really caught. I think you're more gearing towards like American soap operas. And one time I had caught a partial episode of, I believe, General Hospital. This was, maybe back in the early 2000s of when I caught it.
So you never seen Sean on his soaps? You never seen him on his soaps?
No, but you know what I did see him in?
What? Karate Kid Part 3?
Of course.
Mike Barnes. Oh, Sean. The role he'll be asked about for the rest of his life. I mean, I make jokes about it every time I go, it's my see you, Sean. I gotta ask. The fans.
I was actually he had an interview the other day, and I was watching it, and they were actually bringing that up about the whole Cobra Kai show, and I saw him chatting about that as far as like, hey, we're in talks. If it works out.
It's funny how certain roles do that, because with him, like I said, because I'm a friend of his, so I ask with tongue in my cheek, because I just know the fans are like, if you don't ask them, they'll just like crucify me. So I ask him kind of always jokingly, and whenever I post those videos, they go into thousands. People love him from that role. It's so crazy. So I'm like, so every time I see him, I'm gonna ask you the question, and we just laugh about it, and they just go viral. The videos go viral. They love that character, I guess. It's kind of crazy.
You know what the people want.
You know what the people want. So you didn't watch any. So you didn't really watch any soap operas. That's interesting. So this is like your first introduction to like faux soap opera. Do you think you could do a soap opera? Do you think you do it?
I would love to do it. Oh my God, it
Come
seems
on,
like so
the
much
rest of us
fun.
grab him. Grab him.
Yeah, hey, over here. We're
Over here.
available for hire.
Over
Available for hire.
Over
No,
here.
I would love to be on it. It's such a unique experience. It's so fast paced. It's so and I like to thrive in that kind of environment and being very, jump in head first. And you've got lots of cameras moving, you got lots of dialogue moving, you have things adapting very, very, very fast, and you've got to roll with it because you've got all the cameras rolling, and that is very exciting for me, and that's very fun, and I think I would love to be a part of that and to continue being a part of it here with Studio City. I mean, and there's a little bit of difference with Studio City because I think they shot it a little bit more cinematically because now I've kind of looked at some soap opera episodes, like clips here and there, just to kind of see what we're really competing with or what are we inspired by or what is this love letter that we're giving to. And I see some of the differences in the lighting and the takes and the camera angles. So I feel like this particular project was much more cinematic, but when they focus on the story within the story, it feels very much like the kind of soap opera world. And overall, I would love to be a part of that continually.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that'd be fun. I can see you on them. I can see you on one. There's only 4 left. I can see you on one of the 4. I could literally see you on one.
Hey, you know what? From what I understand, a lot of the characters jump from different story arcs to different story arcs. Hey, I'd love to see Nick Cassidy. He's got to go out and do a new project somewhere else. Maybe he takes a break from Studio City and ends up here on Bold and the Beautiful. Maybe he comes back to Studio City. Whatever it might be.
Well, my little dream would be to make Hearts on Fire a little spin-off and then actually do the soap. That's my thing.
That would be really cool.
A little spin-off, and it's like you guys actually do some soap scenes. Like actually a soap, because it's a soap within a show. Actually do a little spin-off. And
then you have the other show that would give you the behind the scenes of what's going on. Ooh, that's a great idea. Tim, Michelle, are you guys hearing this? James has a really good idea.
I know. I mean, it's just. I was thinking what they do. I'm a producer. I can't help it. I think of stuff like that all the time. But I was like, you actually do the soap. Like, actually have the soap.
I think that's amazing.
It's a funny idea.
I think if it does well in the awards here, I think if they green light and move forward with the second season, why not? Why not? You've seen so many shows do not necessarily the story within the story kind of arc setup, and having the branch off, but you see it with what was it? I think Friends and Joey. You see it with Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead. You see a lot of these kind of branch offs that I think that would be a beautiful way to create a universe. You expand the universe of what's going on within Studio City.
And people nowadays, they like bonus content. They like other things. They want to see more of you guys. I mean, the episodes are short. So you could do short soap episodes. I mean, they don't have to be long episodes or any of these other short episodes too. Just it's like a spin-off of the show.
Oh yeah. And I think there's a lot of impactful messages within each of these episodes. They could expand into full episodes, if that's where they wanted to take it.
Yeah, I agree. Philip Bruenn, thanks for being on the show. I can talk to you forever, of course. It was great. It was great. I love it. That was a great story. Great story you told her. So tell people where they can find you on the social media interwebs.
All right. So you can find me on the old Instagram at Philip Bruenn. Find me on Twitter, Philip Bruenn and the number 2. And you can also find me on Facebook at Philip Bruenn.
Yes, you can. And I'm James Lott Jr. You can follow this show, the Studio City Aftershow, on all streaming services on my YouTube channel network, JLJ Media, where I'll be I'm breaking down every single episode of the series, having guest stars. I mean, I have people like Tristan Rogers coming on, Sarah Jo Bryan coming on, Chica Darbo. So just continue watching these. And if you haven't watched the series, go to Amazon. Type in Studio City. It is there. It's a great series. He's good in it. They're all good in it. And congratulations to all the Emmys they've been nominated for. I mean, it's such an amazing thing.
All right, let's get some Emmy Awards. And people, if you got questions, you want to learn more about those episodes, hit James up. And James, come back and hit us up. And let's, get through some more delved impact, what's going on in the Studio City world per episode.
Yes, we will do that. And maybe there'll be a season 2. Who knows? But everybody, take care, everybody.